What's up, guys? So this is going to be a quick update on my life, um, and a little story for you guys. So I actually went back online today, and I looked over a couple of my old posts in these random gaming forums, and I realized the amount of advice I've gotten already in terms of dating and relationships. It's astounding. Like the amount of advice I've probably read on the subject from uh, people ranging from just other users on the forums to college students to dating experts. 99% of it was free advice I somehow extracted via Twitter or whatever. That the total amount could probably fill like five five books this thick. Maybe not that much, but you get the point. And I was reading this and I'm like, wow, holy crap. I think I've got enough knowledge. But then I always end up coming back to this stuff when things don't work out in the real world, which is like all the time. And I realize it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You keep going back to the source, and it just doesn't work. So like I already decided this a while ago. Like um, probably a few months ago, I decided, you know what, I'm done doing this because there were days where I would spend like I'd have like 10 tabs open, and all of them would be like dating articles, and it was such a hassle reading through all of them because half the advice there was generic crap and you had to shuffle through it, and occasionally there'd be some rare gem in there that was like, that is amazing. But now it's like all the same. It's like I've heard it all now. um so here, do you guys want to hear the story first or the you guys want to hear the story first? Okay. All right, let's tell the story first. I like doing this because for some reason it's therapeutical. I like talking to a therapist. I don't know. Anyhow, this is going to sound like another pity story, but it's not. It's not to generate pity, and I made a vow a while ago to never do things to generate pity because I realized a long time ago that it's not going to lead anywhere. It's just going to make you uh, whine and complain about everything, which isn't going to change your life. It's going to make your life worse. But I'm not going to get into that. The point is, it's not for. It's going to sound really crappy, but it's not for pity. So here's the deal, okay? Despite my growth, you could say, in a lot of ways, I am still very similar. One of those things is it takes me a while to warm up. The difference is now I know that I need to kind of warm up um, before getting into my flow when talking to girls because I cannot speak when I'm talking to girls if I don't warm up. Especially, well, yeah, especially when it's an attractive girl. Um, so it's kind of like the guy from Big Bang Theory who can't talk to girls for similar reasons. And I feel like everyone has this to a certain degree, but for me, it's like um, I guess it's because of my lifestyle, or maybe it's just I'm a quiet person or a shy person, but it's really, really tough. And so, fast forward, I'm taking a class in the winter, and let it be known, it kind of sucks because there's this whole university is a ghost town. Like, literally, there's no one there. Then I drive home, um, and my town is a ghost town. If you go to the mall, it's filled with old ladies. So my whole area is like a ghost town, and it sucks because it's like, you know what, I don't, there's like no one around. um Anyhow, so I'm in this class and there's this one attractive girl. Really, she's not that attractive, honestly, but for whatever reason, part of me like idolizes her. um the like, I would call it the beta wimpy part of myself that I can sometimes never stomp off completely. So it's like, I'm trying to convince myself it's just a girl, who cares? um and half the class is just like drones. They're like zombies. Most of them are dudes. So they're just staring in the front. They don't care. They don't give a crap. They never in their life would they ever even consider approaching this girl. I guess, like, I could see in their face, a lot of them have just, you know, they have given up the possibility of anything happening. But for me, there's this stupid little sort of hope that I can't like kick out. It's it's always been there. I don't even know. And it's always like, you know what, you should approach. Maybe you have a shot. And I'm like, I can't kick it out, you know? And then there's like there's this Asian guy who's in front of me. He's fresh off the boat. I try to be friendly and talk to him. Turned out to be a complete jerk. I think it was partially because he was really shy, but I mean, like, he pretty much did not even meet me halfway when I was talking to him. But regardless, I'm like, this guy in front of me doesn't give a crap. He's already, like, you can just judge by like the way he acts, his fobby nature. And don't get me wrong, you know what? I love everyone, and I actually extended my hand. You know, I was like, when I got to that winter class, I was trying to meet people, so I was like, try to be friendly to him. I found out he spoke Mandarin, so I started speaking Mandarin. He was complete jerk to me. Don't know if it was intentional or it was just he was shy, but I guess I plowed really hard, not as hard as I have before. And he wasn't having it at all. And I guess he thought I was like too eager to be his friend or whatever, so he was a jerk. So after that first attempt, I kind of just stopped. But don't get me wrong, I tried really hard, as did I with a couple others, but I still kept it fairly casual, you know. Regardless, okay, here's the story. So for whatever reason, I can't kick this aside that I have a chance with this girl. And she's blonde. She's always seen them in the back. She's always texting on her phone. Part of me wants to throw up because she doesn't care for this class at all. And yet, I guess it's just this loneliness because winter break is long. It's like 2 months. And then even come spring or fall semester, you know, I don't have a plethora of girls. So whatever it is, I got to do something about it. But then, you know, there's the other half of the class, and we'll get to that later. The other half who hasn't really given this up. So she's this girl. Definitely, you know, she wasn't the most attractive in the world. She was definitely really attractive, but I mean, she wasn't like some supermodel by any means. You know, blonde hair, and I noticed that she had a backpack, and she was a part, like, at our school, the backpacks signify what sport you're a part of. So if you have one of those specialty backpacks, you're probably playing a sport at the school. So she played soccer at the school. You could tell from her backpack. So here's the big other thing, you know, despite all my growth, like, I feel like I still always get this sort of thing where it's like I can't approach smoothly. In order to do that, I have to warm up and talk to a lot of people. And so before, I guess the only growth is that I realize it. But in this situation, it was really hard to warm up because the entire classroom was silent and stone-faced. Even during the 10-minute breaks every hour or so, everyone was just silent and eating their granola bars and stuff. And it was like, at the beginning, I was really loud, and I tried talking to others, and I was hoping that other people would pick up and start talking amongst themselves or something. But it wasn't. It was just stone silence. Everyone was looking at me while I was talking for like 10 minutes. I tried to strike up conversation with this white guy who was sitting behind me, and he was kind of like, his facial expression and body language is like, what are you doing? There's everyone's watching, or like, why are you what are you trying to do and talk to me? We should all be silent. And it's just complete bogus. So long story short, I'm doing my thing in class, and I'm gonna skip forward to the beginning. No need to spend an hour elaborating on pointless details. So again, I during the breaks, for whatever reason, she's like the only girl who she steps outside, and then she lays down flat on her stomach on a bench outside the classroom during the breaks, and she plays with her phone, probably texting other guys or something. Obviously, you get her type of character. I'm the dude who sits up front, cares about this class, despite the class being retardedly boring and complicated. At least I'm trying. So part of me not really interested, but I got a comment recently, and I had to agree with it because it was logically sound. It was one of my viewers, and he said something like, "You're taking this way too seriously. You act like you're trying to marry someone, and you haven't even gotten a girlfriend yet, not even your first girlfriend." And he was like, "Good luck on finding a job once you graduate. I know that's a problem you've been expressing in your videos lately." And he was really nice. And then he said like, just take it casually, just date around. You're taking it too seriously. They don't have to be perfect in every way. So I'm like, okay, whatever. This girl is, she's attractive enough. And then here it comes, I'm just rambling, walking around in the area, making sure she doesn't see me, but trying to work up the nerve to approach her. And this is really hard for me, and it's very, very common. So I spent like all 10 minutes just like walking around. And I think it was like the second or third day, it was the second day, I finally went up and talked to her. And it was the worst conversation ever. It was like, hey, I noticed your backpack, you play soccer. And it wasn't as casual and nice as now. It's probably like really nervous. And a lot of people are like, why are you doing this? Just be confident. Well, the people who know that you can't just shake this off. So I'm like, I know the theory behind it. I know everything behind it. You just can't shake this nervousness off. And I have like a horrible amount. So I'm like my body language is expressing this, but I'm quelling it to enough. And I'm just telling myself, wow, I'm so proud of you for actually approaching this girl. Good for you. And it was the worst conversation ever. She really wasn't having it. I mean, by her body language and stuff, she was like, the way she responded, she was like, yeah, well, if you check the website, you can figure out which one of the girls on our team because that's why I asked her. I was like, yeah, I think I know one of the girls on your soccer team. Her name is da-da-da, but I can't remember her last name. I think it was this one. And then she was like, that don't give a fuck sort of attitude. So judging from that, I was just like, okay, whatever. I kind of screwed up. But I'm not a firm believer in that. It's just like you try, and if you don't connect, you fail. I don't believe in that. Based off everything I've learned, I really believe like a lot of it, like a lot of her response can be completely different based on the amount of, for lack of a better word, game you have, or a better way to phrase it would be like personality and so forth. And I know you guys are gonna say I don't have much game, but the point is like a lot of people would be like, you're being fake. It's like, no, I'm not. Like, if I could, I would have quenched my nervousness, been a lot more confident and casual like I am now. That's not being fake. That's being more who I actually am. And, expressing myself more, tell jokes, be funny and so forth. But, no matter what here's the thing. In those situations, when you're actually there, it's like no matter what you say or think or whatever, it's just this petrifying fear that you can't shake yourself of. And I found like, at least for me, you just have to go up and do it, and you know you're gonna bomb, but it's better than not even trying at all. And so I was like that. And then for the next like 2 weeks, class was every day for like 5 hours, except Fridays. For the next 2 weeks, I was on and off. I'm like, maybe I should approach. And then when break came, I'm like, oh, I don't want to be that desperate idiot who always waits until break time to approach this girl. And then after it breaks done, I always walk up to the front of the class again. And that begs the question, obviously, of why didn't you sit next to her and all this stuff. And it's like, when I walked into class that day and every day afterwards, I'm like, do I want to sit next to this girl who texts at the back of the class every day and most likely get a B or C in this class from it, regardless of if I talk to her throughout class or not? Either way, it's just different degrees of me worsening my grade in this class, which is more important. Or am I going to sit in the front and then whenever there's free time, I'll talk to her? I think the answer is logically there. So anyhow, this girl, I still can't shake this stupid feeling off that there's still some goddamn chance. Excuse my cursing. So I just can't shake that off. So, some days I'm like, I think I can do it. And then the break comes and I'm like, oh, I don't want to be that desperate idiot who's always rushing to her after break. Despite me never having done it since then. Guarantee she has thought about, what the heck's going on with this Asian guy after my first approach, you could say, which lasted like 10 seconds. It was like, yeah, I think I know this girl. And she's like, oh yeah, you can look it up on my website. And, her attitude was like, stop hitting on me. Anyhow, then I left. I can't shake the feeling. So I'm like, I gotta try again. And I know, then, I decide I'm going to do it. And then break begins, and I spend 80% of it just walking around in the area where she can't see me, trying to gather up the nerve to approach. And then sometimes it'll climb over that threshold where I think I can do it. Then I walk towards her, and there's some guy near the area, and I don't want it to seem like I'm hitting on her, but I know that if anyone else sees it, it'll be so freaking obvious based on my body language and stuff like that. And it's like, and then that begs the question, why can't you just control it? Why can't you just control this urge and this weird body language? It's like, it's not that easy. It's like, when you're that nervous, no matter how much you try and like prevent yourself from doing it, it's not going to happen. So I'm just like, okay, no matter how smooth I try to be, this nervousness, anxiety, whatever you may call it, that I can't seem to kick away, it's going to be there. So I'm going to have to either approach with this or never do it and then regret it. And as you can see, there's a lot of overanalyzing, overthinking about this stupid thing. And there are days where I'm like, I'm going to approach her when the class finally ends, so I have a longer stretch of time to talk to her. And then like class ends, and half the time she leaves early, half the time she leaves, but there's like a group of guys walking in the same direction, and it's just bad. And then there's times when I'm just like, oh, I didn't approach, and then like I regret it afterwards. So there's that one day, and then I finally work up the nerve, and then I finally do it, and lo and behold, there's already a guy talking to her, and he's smooth as heck. First off, he's like a sports player. I think he plays a sport at the school, and I think it's like baseball. So he's like really tall, like 2 feet taller than me, really muscular, huge guy, just casually sitting there. Like his body language is so lax, his tone is so lax, he's just talking it up. And yeah, I know some of you guys are gonna be like, that guy has game, learn from him, dude. And I had seen it coming, because I was looking around the classroom a lot, and I could see, there's dudes eyeing the girl, and one time I walked at the end of class when everyone was leaving. I saw one of the dudes. It may have been the same dude talking to her while she was leaving. And I'm like, oh, whatever, what the heck. So I walked back into the room. I don't even want to talk about it, or overanalyze the situation. But then, I hear them talking out in the hallway for like 10 minutes because the teacher decided to extend it to a freaking 20-minute break. So 10 minutes is a long freaking time. It's like 600 seconds. And there's nothing to do. Like, technically, I could get on my phone or my iTouch, but I've pretty much decided that that's just a way to drain your brain, just like television. Like, sure, I have a lot of fun reading and watching TV. I mean, I'm on season 2 of Big Bang Theory, just finished Attack of the Titan, which is an anime. But, whenever I'm in class and I have that option and it's only 10 minutes, it's like, I'm going to save myself 10 minutes of time where I'm not wasting and draining my brain. And so I just sat there for a good deal and then decided, what, I'm going to study some on my iTouch. So I pulled up like the lecture or whatever. But anyhow, those 10 minutes, all I could hear was this dude just barely saying anything. And then the girl just like laughing really hard and like talking like da 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 da. And I couldn't make out distinct words, but by the tone and everything, I knew it was about something goddamn stupid, like who knows, like freaking partying or something. So no offense to them, but it was just like, why is this always the case? Why can't good-looking girls be intellectual too? It's just not, it doesn't happen. They surf on their looks, so they choose not to work on their minds. I don't know. Anyhow, it eventually prompted me to put in my earphones, and I decided to, okay, this is gonna sound really nerdy, but lately I haven't been listening to music on my iPod. I listen to audiobooks because they're like packed with information that can, I know, and this sounds kind of shallow, but it can really help you financially, in terms of making and creating wealth, and that's the topic for another video. Anyhow, here I am, and she comes back, and then the day ends, and again I notice she has left the classroom about an hour early, or whatever, or however long she left early, and even leaving the baseball guy behind. So this girl's, doing her own thing, thinks she's hot stuff. She's not even that good looking, and I still can't kick this feeling. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, at this point, I don't even care if you get rejected like you are. I just want you to freaking approach her, because I don't think that single approach you did was enough, and I want you to just feel accomplished and actually try. But there's never the chance. I mean, there is, but I always screw it up, and I'm just so scared of people seeing me do it, or that dude seeing me do it, and it's the stupidest thing ever. I think I'm gonna do it tomorrow, or the next day, maybe tomorrow. So that's that story, and she's obviously doing her own thing. She obviously doesn't care. And it really boggles my mind, like, what do they do during winter break when you have literally 2 months of free time, and then these classes only take up like a small portion of your day? For me, I go home, I study the class, and then I have a lot of free time, which I use to watch TV shows. Kind of sad, but I mean, there's so little to do right now. I'm a senior. I didn't get an internship, so and I feel like from what I've been talking, and I have a feeling that everyone else does the same thing based on the people I've asked, which is kind of lame in the same way, but I'm being more productive in certain ways. I mean, look, I'm reading this book. It is this hallmark, the staple mark of investing. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. I'm not even going to tell you the title. I'm just going to give you a brief flash. Those who know what I'm doing know what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's it about that story. And then just a quick update on jobs. So I'm using like my school's job search thing. I've sent out like 40 or 50 applications to random stuff I like. I'm a bio major, but for some reason I'm submitting applications to investment analyst positions because I feel like that could be really interesting. And so I haven't got a lot of calls back. The ones I have all been some sort of scam in certain ways or others. Um, well, I'm pretty much. There's been 3 calls. One was a clear scam. It was like a kitchenware thing where they want you to walk around and beg your family to buy kitchenware. The second one was a well, it's a very prominent, well-known sort of establishment, but something during the information briefing, something just wasn't feeling right. Like the way the presenter, despite him giving all these facts, the way he was looking at me, the way he was like saying stuff, the way he reacted when I asked questions, it just made my stomach churn, and I couldn't put my finger on why. And I went back and forth or about whether or not to follow up with the interview for like weeks. From the few people I've heard from, acting is not easy or easily accessible or anything like that. The people who got into their roles have been acting for years, have already had major credentials, which is the only reason they got there. And apparently there's hundreds of waitresses and waiters who are actors in the making that never make it out there and just are waiters and waitresses. So it's a tough world, and that's all I gotta say.